Showtime. There's no time like showtime. Ah. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-da. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Let me dial this in here. Hello, everybody. Welcome. 410 Live, or 420 Live. I don't even know the name of my own show anymore. 420 Live with Jeff Kravitz. I am coming to you from Santa Monica, California, from my office. Look, I see my lunch over there. Here, let me get my lunch out of the shot. There it is. That's a little better. Get those nasty cold fries out of there. I center myself up. I hope everybody's having a great day. Today, you couldn't tell by how professional I am, but today is the beginning of our 5th week. I've been doing this a month now. On March 16th, I started coming live as kind of a thing to do for my friends, to kind of get together and have a smoke in public and hit the bong with all you guys. And it's totally evolved into like a real show with real guests and interviews and talking to people that are legends. I don't know how else to put how lucky we've been with the guests we've had to have these legendary people come in and talk to us. So I'm honored. And I put a post up today with the pictures of the 22 people that have been my guests. And it's incredible. I mean, it's nothing I planned on. So I think when you do something like this, usually you have some kind of big plan. Oh, I'm going to be a webcaster, and you're all set up and you do it. And this has just been so organic. The growth has been so organic, talking to all my crew, how agreeable everybody is, and then the amazing chats you end up having. I love the afterwards when people start calling me. I have a ton of friends that are Genesis fans hitting me up about Armando Gallo, and they're like, "Wow, you know Armando Gallo?" They go, especially my friends back in New Jersey. We all grew up listening to prog rock as kids. Speaking of prog rock, I have this shirt here. This shirt is like the first concert I ever saw from 1978. And I was going through scanning my pictures, and I found this picture of my brother Greg, and my sister Sherry on the left. God rest her soul. We lost Sherry about 13 years ago to breast cancer. Everybody out there should make sure they get checked up. And just because you're home doesn't mean you're not checking yourself to make sure you stay healthy. I miss Sherry every day. She's very, very important to me. And, it's really hard to lose a sibling, and especially for your folks and stuff like that. So always an adjustment. But I saw my brother wearing that shirt, and I was like, well, I wonder if they have reissues, because that's my shirt that he was wearing one day. I remember busting his chops like, yo, you got my shirt on. I'm probably 16, 17 years old, and we're down the street, and they come spinning down. He's got his world-class ultimate Frisbee there, and he's wearing that Yes Go. So I went on eBay and started looking for it, and of course it pops up. And it was a bargain. It was $18. I got my first tour shirt back in my collection. Now it'd probably be all moth-eaten 40 years later, but so that's how I pick my high fashion here for the show, folks. Not just for the show, for my life. Yes, going for the one. And we are going for the one all week long here. 420 Live, that was why we started. And it is 420 all month long. And we're about 8 days from actually 420. And it's become kind of a national holiday now where everybody's 420ing it up and doing their thing. And it's been a complete, it's a cottage industry. The first time I ever saw the numbers 420 together, I was at Oakland Coliseum going to see the Grateful Dead, and all the guys had their Shakedown Street. They all had their little stuff out they were selling, and I saw the 405 marker, but it said 420 instead. I kept seeing 420, so I said to one of the guys, "What's 420 mean?" And he's like, "Oh, that's what time you get high." And I was like, "Huh?" And then I heard about the legend of the guys up in Santa Cruz getting high every day after school at 420. I don't know if you know, that's part of where the legend comes from. It was a time for everybody to get together. And that's how it started. And it was always a code, for those that knew, 420, let's go have a smoke. So in starting the show, I wasn't really thinking it through or anything like that. I didn't know how long we were going to be sequestered. But here we are. It's 420. And all week this week, I'm going to feature different people in and around cannabis, and people that I know and love, and people that I haven't met too, which I haven't had on the show yet. Everybody I've had on the show, I kind of know. So I want to start off with one of the biggest things everybody's talking about now, which is CBDs, because everybody has a ton of questions about CBDs and how they work. And everywhere you go, there's CBD this, CBD that. This has CBD in it. That has CBD in it. So we're going to cut to the chase. We're going to start today with CBD product line, also organics. My friend Chewy Smith has launched a brand new product down there in Nashville. And I'm going to bring Chewy in to say hi to everybody. Everybody say hello to Chewy.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, good. I can hear you and everything. That's great.
Happy 420.
Yes, happy 420, Chewy. Now, I don't remember you being the biggest stoner when we would hang out.
Well, that is true. I definitely had my day. I did go to school at CU Boulder, and remember, I got my start in the music industry in the jam band world as well. So I had my day. I much prefer a nice edible every once in a while now, or a glass of wine is sort of my. That's kind of where I hang my hat up. Of course, I am a everyday CBD user, which is part of this conversation.
Right. Why don't you tell us about Also Organics? And I'm going to pop up the little your little Instagram handle there so people can check it out while
thank you. Now, you've known me for a long time. We've known each other, gosh, for 20 years or so. So, you know, after 20 plus years of, starting and growing companies in and around the music and entertainment industry, for managing, I found myself with fatigue and anxiety issues, and traditional treatments help to a certain degree. But as you know, going through your day on Xanax is no way to start your day, or it just wasn't working for me. And so I found the greatest relief in real quality CBD products. And unfortunately, Nashville did not have anything. I couldn't go to a store or anything online that was here local. I kept having to call people that I knew in Colorado and California. And luckily, I know quite a few people in those states, and was able to get my hands on a really good quality product, and ended up meeting a couple chemists and growers, and really started working my way through the world. And our 9-year-old son also has social anxiety, and sometimes it's really bad. And so, his doctor, as we started kind of going through different options, of course, most people are like, well, just medicate him, put him on pharmaceuticals. And, my wife and I certainly took the step of like, hey, this is working for me really well. We were able to find a trusted source that was organic. He was making it personally just for me at the time. And so we ended up having a conversation. It's, of course, we live in Tennessee, so it's got to be less than 0.3% THC. And we decided to give it to our 9-year-old son. And we found a significant reduction in his social anxiety, which, for us wasn't a cure, but it was a manageable effect, which means the way that he interacted with other people, his schoolwork, the way he interacted with his brothers. And it made a big difference in his life and our lives as well. And so after the two of us experienced the benefits of CBD, I just kept kind of analyzing the market and continued to network to meet a variety of industry players, and recognized there was an entrepreneurial opportunity for me to completely redirect my business experience into the health and wellness space. After 20 plus years of being in music and entertainment, that makes perfect sense, of course. But, like yourself, I was savvy enough around the product to understand it enough to be dangerous, but not really to launch a packaged goods company. So I really dug in and surrounded myself with a lot of people much smarter than me that have gone through that process from the, hey, I want to start a company, to we're about to launch in the market and everything in between. So doing that, I brought on a brand positioning, sort of a brand directive guy. And we started looking at taking cues from the self-care movement and reference points such as like Land Rover and Kills and Nike and Outdoor Voices. And, you're going to have a chemist on after me. So, in general, really good cannabinoids make you a better version of yourself. They put your body back into balance by, balancing your CB1 and CB2 receptors, and they allow you to basically be a better version of yourself. Well, I felt like it was going to be really interesting to create a brand that would take that sort of, if you think about the Nike commercial with Serena Williams out there, she's a goddamn warrior princess. She is out there killing everyone. And then a minute later, you're like, oh shit, it's a shoe commercial. Well, that's the Nike's whole approach there is Serena's the goddess warrior. She's out there killing people. We just help make her a better version of herself. And I thought that was really interesting that they've positioned themselves in that way. And there was no brand sort of in the CBD world that sort of took that same approach of aspirational functionality about like you being your own personal best. And so that's the direction we decided to go in. There's a ton of brands out there that offer tranquility. There's a ton of medical brands. There's no brand out there that really speaks to being your best. The name Also Organic speaks to addition. We help you feel your best so you can do more. Like the cumulative effect of CBD, we build you up day by day. It's not what you can do. It's not what you can't do. It's what you can. And so having gone through all of that, we try to create a brand, an identity that separates ourselves from the majority of the other brands occupying this space and aim to be kind of one of a kind in our look and feel. As I said, it was created out of a personal family need for quality and trusted CBD, which we believe is defined as non-GMO and organic ingredients, as well as certified advanced production processes, and moreover, in a sea of CBD sameness, we want consumers to instantly recognize the Also Organics for transparency and our respect for the environment. I would say the core values of our company is to provide a naturally better way to live one's best life. As I mentioned earlier, that should not exclude children from the potential or the proactive properties of legal and natural hemp-derived CBD. Certainly, if you live in other states, that can come from the other side of that. We're proud to offer tinctures for kids. We literally made a kids tincture. And part of the reason was there was so much stigma around having that conversation between my wife and other adults or other moms that we wanted to be able to just give people permission. Hey, I have this package. It says organic, dye-free, gluten-free, all the buzzwords on the side.
Your kids can take it and not have a problem.
Right.
The market is totally saturated. There's so many different products. So I know you're trying to stand apart from it. We're going to unbox. Chewy sent me a box, the Also Organics box here. And I didn't even open it. I got the handy knife here to cut it open. So
I want to get my 4-year-old in here to watch this. He loves this shit on YouTube.
He loves the unboxing. Well, the packaging and everything's beautiful. You definitely got it down. Like my wife said, it's all about the marketing, right? You got to market. It's all about the market.
I think there's a chemical reaction that happens if you're looking at a shelf and there's 15 brands on there. You want to feel good about it.
Yes. So in here we have a couple different products. You want to go left to right first? We have I'm just going to put the box down and take them out one by one. Oh. The first one we have is the Also Organics, the hand lotion.
Well, I will tell you quite frankly, and I am not bullshitting you, with the amount of hand sanitizer and washing that I'm doing, it is the absolute gem in the overall product line right now. It is saving my hands. My hands are well moisturized because I use it every day. I use it in the morning. I use it at night. We've gone through 2 bottles of it in the last 4.5 weeks since we've been sheltering in place. It's it's all organic ingredients. It has a nice little lavender scent on it as well. Organic lavender essential oil. And, it feels great. It feels nice. It's not oily and greasy. And I, as a dude, actually use it. So
what does CBD do to make hand cream better? That's a question I always wonder is like, because I see it in everything, and I'm like, so how does it make hand cream better? Is there something with the emollients?
Here's the reality. So there's a lotion. We then add organic CBD to the blend that we ended up creating. What that does, listen, your skin is a giant organ, right? It absorbs into your skin. like anything, there are healing properties in CBD. You believe in the science behind that, as do I.
Right.
So with anything that you're putting on your body, if you also have the healing properties of great cannabinoids with it, it's only going to enhance that. If you have a really great lotion that has great absorption and is helping heal your skin and moisturize, it's only going to enhance all of those properties. And so that's why I went out to create a product line of things that we use daily in our household, along with a couple other popular items in the CBD world, you know, frankly, out of a need.
Yeah. So now I have the tincture. I'm taking that out. Now these are the actual drops you consume and put in your smoothie and stuff.
That is correct. There are people that do it that way. That is correct. Yes. So
1,800 milligrams. Is that the whole bottle's 1,800 milligrams?
You're going to need to get your glasses checked. That's 1,500 milligrams in that one.
Oh, sorry. Lens and frame.
It's all right.
I might need to step up to the 2.5s with my Darren Rosenberg, my friend's the lens and frame.
It's all right. So there's, yes, God love you, Rosie. Shout out. There's 30 milligrams per dropper. It's a 1 ounce bottle, so 30 milliliters in there. And so every dropper is a milliliter. If you take it out, it's measured properly. You take the full dropper, kick it underneath the tongue. Do it now. It's only got 2 ingredients in there. It's an organic CBD, which is extracted through a warm water ultrasound technology and then put through a nanoparticleization, which you can have the scientist on the other end talk to you about that. But I tried to make it taste like nothing, quite frankly. I wanted it to be very
it doesn't have much taste. It doesn't have much taste at all.
Right. So the efficacy, because it's nanoparticleized, means that it's a lot more effective. And again, you have the scientist on here who can actually talk about the nuts and bolts about that.
All right. Now we got the salve.
The pain salve is
1,000 milligrams. I can read that.
I love it. Yeah, it is. It's awesome. Again, same thing. Here's the thing about this though, is what I learned when I was going through the entire CBD world is most brands say pain salve or something for pain, but they actually don't have lidocaine in it. So that is all organic with the exception of lidocaine, and lidocaine is FDA approved to have for pain. So we ended up putting a little bit of
so this is almost like a wax, right?
Yeah, it's olive oil and organic beeswax is the base formulation for that.
And it has lidocaine in it. Lidocaine's good.
Yeah, it has lidocaine. It has a little bit of menthol, but it has a lot of eucalyptus and other natural properties as well. How
about our pets? I'm not going to try this one. But I'll give it to my dog later.
He's gonna love it. Trust me.
Does it calm her the fuck down? Because she's driving me crazy. This is for the pets. You can see the little footprint, the little dog paw, the paw.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Part of the reason that I started doing this, as I said earlier, is I had a need for it. I knew that there's kids in our community that had it, and then everyone on our block seemed to be giving it to their pets as well. So my light bulb moment was there's only shit that exists around here in our spot. You don't know what's in it. There's no transparency. A lot of stuff has added sugars and dyes and all sorts of stuff. And you know, if you're gonna make something good enough for your kid, you might as well make it good enough for the other furry people that you love.
All right, we got a little skim balm here.
Right. So it's essentially, by the way, I will tell you that this right here was a giant scab like 5 days ago. I took a digger keeping up with my kids on my skateboard, and through the balm, it is now completely gone almost. Also works wonders on chapped lips and all that kind of stuff as well. It's great. Okay. I love it.
And I think that we're going to get to my favorites right now. The CBD gummies.
Listen, right? you eat enough gummies that you should just take this one by yourself. Take it. So
just take the whole. Just eat the whole thing.
Yeah. All right. Would your viewers be shocked if I told them that I've seen you do something like that
before? Maybe mom.
Yeah, but so it's organic, right? It's got 25 milligrams of CBD on every one of those. How does it taste? You tell me.
They're good.
Yeah, they're great, right?
Yeah, they're really good.
You've consumed enough gummies in the CBD,
usually I just eat the THC. For me, as a consumer, right. I'm on so many anti-inflammatory herbs and things that I take in my coffee every morning. I sent you my list. You've seen my list.
I've seen it. I'm a believer.
I want to add the CBD drops to it because I think that'd be great to add in.
Well,
but you think?
Listen, here's the other thing. If you're adding THC or you're adding CBD to a gummy, it still has to taste like something, right? A lot of gummies,
of course,
they're so super mushy, and so I at least want to.
No, they're very good. That's a nice. I mean, they're not your typical like little tiny gummies. They're nice and covered in the little thing to keep them all from sticking to each other. Little powdered sugar. Well, I like the product line. Your packaging is beautiful. Everything looks great. So I wish you a lot of luck. I'm going to pop it up here. Chewy and I are going to do some kind of giveaway. We're gonna come up with a contest for to give out some gummies. Let me see. Here it is. Also organics. What we have to do, Chewy, is we're going to create a post, an organic post between me and you, and post it up after the show. And you'll share it on your page. And people go on your page and tag me and you and tag 2 friends that they would share their gummies with.
Right.
And
Let's give away some gummies.
And we'll give away some gummies. All right. So I'll handle that. I'll talk. My kids are probably listening to me and like, oh, thanks, Dad. Something else to do. But it's amazing that all the stuff they have to do contests now.
What else are they doing right now? They're stuck inside your house. I mean,
it's amazing when there's something to be done, how they all disappear. It's like, hey, wait. You didn't finish cleaning the kitchen. And like, next thing you know, the kid's gone. You're like, wait, what happened? Where'd you go?
By the way, why I have you on here, I want to say I haven't been watching every week, but it's nice to be the 23rd Michael Jordan guest on the show. But those 2 photos over your shoulders, honestly, are 2 of the favorite photos of yours that you've taken, the Kurt Cobain and the guy in the wheelchair in the crowd, which I think it's the Outside Lands, right?
Right. That's Ryan.
Awesome.
Ryan Chen, and last week Ryan was on Shark Tank.
Oh, really?
Selling. He has a new product for Focus. It's like chewable caffeine gum and stuff like that. So yes, I mean I put them up. At first I didn't have much of a background, and as I've been doing the show, I keep getting notes. Hey, you got to change this. You got to change that. One of the notes you got to clean the background.
I tuned in very early on. I'm going to say I like the photos over the light show much better.
Oh, well, the light show's Saturday nights only. Anyway, Chewy, I wish you a lot of luck with Also Organics. We're going to figure out the thing. On our side, I have my good friend, another old friend that I've known for decades, Dr. Mark Scialdone. He is with BR Brands Official. He did send me he is the Chief Science Officer at BR Brands Official. Mark has been a chemist for many years. He's been listening to your rap. So I want him to come in and tell us what he thinks of your presentation, and then we're going to get into the long and short of it. Hello, Mark.
Hey, guys.
How are
Jeff.
you?
All right. How are you?
I'm great. And that's Chewy up there. Say hi to Chewy.
Hey, Chewy.
So, Mark, you've seen CBD. CBD has been something in your life for many years. What do you think of the product line that Chewy just gave us? I mean, you haven't seen it, but you've seen a lot of similar type things out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of very interesting to see, it in so many forms. I mean, think of CBD kind of like vitamin C. You could put vitamin C in lots of different things. You could put it into gum. You could put it into drinks. Just fortifying your, vitamin C intake because you're not getting enough. And so cannabinoids are a lot like vitamins in that they act on a series of receptors in your body called the endocannabinoid system. And your body actually needs these compounds. And one of the reasons why it takes so long to pass a piss test is that our body has evolved ways to hold on to these compounds for as long as we possibly can because they're fat soluble. They're not water soluble. You ever try to clean your bong out with water? Doesn't work too well, does it? No. So the compounds are fat soluble, and one of the targets in the body is something called fat binding proteins. Fat binding proteins are basically proteins that shuttle around fat molecules to different receptors, and it's not actually that CBD doesn't actually act on cannabinoid 1 or cannabinoid 2 receptors. So CBD has got other molecular targets in the body. So it's interesting that the most prevalent receptor, or one of the most prevalent receptors, in the human brain is the CB1 receptor that binds to THC. That's not a happy accident. I think that basically says that, humans, we've co-evolved with this plant until last century, which I call the cannabis deficient century. Humans use cannabis forever, that our bodies have actually evolved receptors to basically, use these molecules as neuroreceptors. And so CBD actually acts on a enzyme that actually is responsible for the release of the endocannabinoid anandamide. So anandamide is the compound that THC mimics in the body. And anandamide binds to CB1, but CBD, what it does is it affects the enzyme that's the regulatory enzyme for how much anandamide is free at any one time. So that's one of the targets that CBD has. But CBD also binds to something called the TRPV1 receptor, which is the same receptor that capsaicin in hot pepper binds to. So you could think of hot pepper kind of like that sharp pain signal is actually very, very important in pain regulation. And so CBD acts on those receptors. CBD also acts on something called the 5-HT1 receptor, which is the serotonin receptor. Serotonin is a natural, it's a 5-hydroxy tryptophan or tryptamine, and that's a naturally occurring neurotransmitter. So these compounds in the plant, like CBD, sort of augment, natural function in the body. And Dr. Ethan Russo has categorized certain diseases as basically endocannabinoid deficiencies. So your body doesn't make enough cannabinoids, so we need supplementation from phytocannabinoids, like products that Chewy makes and other products. Like you, Jeff, I'm a THC guy, right?
Right.
We like
a nice shirt, by the way. That the shirt he's wearing is a photo I took of Miley Cyrus back in the day. I'm just going to pop you. Hold on, Joe. I'm going to take you out for a sec, just so people can see that beautiful shirt. And I took that picture of Miley getting high in Amsterdam at the MTV European Music Awards, and then someone took it and made a shirt out of it, and I ended up buying a shirt. And then Mark saw the link, and he bought one too. Absolutely.
I've taken it to numerous musical festivals, including Fish Shows and Delfest, and Miley's been at a bunch of different events. And everywhere I go, Jeff, when I'm wearing it, they're always asking, "Who's selling that shirt? Where can I get that shirt?" People want to pose with it.
Yeah, it's pretty classic, and it is very bold. So how much CBD, like how do you figure out how many milligrams you need? Because if each of these is 25 milligrams and I eat the whole thing, you can't overdose on them, right?
Well,
even if I ate the whole thing.
Yeah, the thing with CBD, and again, there's been some recent, because there's so much use of it now these days, we're finding out that CBD actually impacts the regulatory enzymes in the liver that metabolize other pharmaceuticals. And so there was recently a case where a woman who was taking meloxicam, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agent, actually ended up dying from a toxic event from what happened in her liver. And they're not saying that CBD caused it, but what CBD does is CBD inhibits these oxidative enzymes in the liver that are responsible for the metabolism of a lot of pharmaceuticals. So if you're taking blood pressure medication, gout medication, or if you're taking any number of medications, if you take a lot of CBD, you're going to impact the liver's metabolism of those other drugs, which could create some liver toxicity issues. And so that's one of the reasons why, again, you didn't talk about this, Chewy, but one of the things I'm a proponent of is what we call full spectrum extracts, where you're not purifying it down to CBD isolate. So there's a whole host of other cannabinoids there that help sort of tune the biological action of these in the body. And I think it's been shown now clinically that CBD extracts are more effective than products where CBD isolate is, say, added to a tincture. So
yeah, we don't believe we don't do isolate. We're a full spectrum company across the board with everything, and for that reason, and also like everything is metabolize at some point in your body, right? No matter what it is. So I always tell people, you're going to get on it. Don't do it. Don't get off your pharmaceuticals because I'm telling you to start taking those products. Check with your doctor. Be smart about everything. I think there's some things that you may be able to shift in your life, but you should still consult your doctor.
Well,
I'm just an ex-entertainer.
She was taking three different medications because she had different issues, and she also took a liposomal form of CBD. Now, what a liposomal form is where you basically put it into one of these nano carriers, which is a highly active form of it. I won't go into the theory, but it's just that is a very, very potent sort of
delivery
onslaught
system
at one particular time. And again, if you're taking other pharmaceuticals and you have other pharmaceuticals in your system, she ended up passing away from something called Johnson-Stevens syndrome or something like that. But it was very, she had skin blisters and all kinds of other issues. But I mean, this was, again, what they believe it was is the toxicity was not due to CBD, but it was CBD's action on the liver that really amped up the toxicity of these other pharmaceuticals she was taking, And I know people who take handfuls of pharmaceuticals at a time, 6 pills. Yeah, this is for my blood pressure. This is for my heart on. This is for my this is for my that. You take that, wash it down with a Bud Light, and then, oh yeah, let's take a CBD gummy. I mean, yeah, you are what you eat.
Well, I mean, pharmaceuticals, I mean, if you need them for medical, the problem is that people take them for sports too. But if you have issues, you definitely should consult a doctor before you start a CBD regimen with anything you change, if you're going to change into a daily thing. The medical profession has been a lot more accepting of CBDs, and now we see the whole legalization of cannabis across the nation. I mean, it's, I think, 30 states out of 50. And, cannabis sales are at an all-time high now. Everybody's stoned. I mean, I think we'd all be killing each other if we didn't smoke around my house. So everybody's trying to stay medicated and stay sane. So basically what I'm taking away from what you're saying, Mark, is that CBDs should be an important part of our diet. But how do you figure out how much to take?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. You could do your own sort of bioassay. I mean, I think you could always start low and go higher. I mean, to me, it's like if you're taking a maintenance dose of anything, you want to, look for any, I don't know, form that you can take where it doesn't really have any other, health impacts. I mean, the only thing that CBD could potentially do, I think, if you're taking enough of full spectrum CBD and there's THC in there, you could actually probably start to get high because now you're getting enough CBD. You're taking so much CBD that there's enough THC that you're going to start feeling.
Because there has to be a little bit of THC to activate. Usually it's 0.4 in Nashville. You're saying it's 0.3 down there in Tennessee, Chewy?
And the way
nationally on the farm bill, it was in order to make it legal in all 50 states, it had to be less than 0.3. So most formulations coming out in this world, rather unless it's just in California, Colorado, Washington, and those states, but in all the other states, if it's hemp derived. Then it's usually below 0.3, but it's still, it gives you that low amount of THC to help with the entourage effect. But as the chemist will tell you, you'd probably want a little bit higher if you're really truly going for something medical. And I'm going to shift to the doctor.
Well, here you go. I have an acre of hemp, right, and it's 0.3% THC. On a reasonable extraction yield, that's about 5.5, maybe close to 6 pounds of THC, okay, per acre. So, 0.3 or nothing, there's a lot of THC in hemp. It's just, yeah. I mean,
so how much am I, so on my daily diet of cannabis as a smoker, or maybe as someone that consumes THC based edibles, how much CBD am I getting out of that? Am I getting enough on my marijuana diet or out of my bong or out of my joint?
Yeah, and one of the things I was going to add to what Chewy said is that actually CBD acts in a different way on the receptor. It's what's called an allosteric inhibitor. So it actually changes the way that your body reacts to THC. Some people think that if they take CBD, they could actually counteract the THC high. Like if you're really stoned, if you take a large dose of THC or CBD, that you could make yourself unhigh. Doesn't really work like that. But I think if you're consuming a lot of CBD, it changes the way your body reacts to THC. It kind of attenuates it a little bit.
Right. So so you're saying we should take a little bit of extra, that we need a little bit extra.
You know, I think
everyone needs a little extra in their life.
Yeah, Chewy's like, yes, also organics.
If you're looking for that full spectrum, I mean, there's even new cannabinoids that they're discovering that they believe are like 30 times more potent than THC itself. So this was something called THCP or something like that. It was recently discovered by some Italian researchers. But the weird thing is that like all of these other compounds are in the plant, you know, so that's like the full spectrum. If you just remove THC, that's usually what they call, right, Chewy, broad spectrum, right?
That's
a broad spectrum as opposed to full spectrum. Full spectrum includes the THC. Broad spectrum, what they're doing is some manipulation of the oil to remove the
That's
THC.
right. That's right. They remediate a lot of the THC, and you talk about how much THC you have. I've been into those labs, and they have mountains of it. But you know, going back to what the doctor said, when I first started getting into this and reading all the reports coming out of Israel and the EU, because they've been studying it for years, there was a lot of great science behind using full spectrum in neuroregenerative pathways and like the science behind dementia and Alzheimer's and autism and ADHD and ADD. And that's where I sort of really started getting excited of like, hey, I wanted to put forth this great organic, non-GMO, and for, you know, those in the tribe, also kosher certified product of something that, you know, people could trust, but then also inch towards. So within Tennessee, we can't experiment with higher doses of THC right now, but in the future, that's where I would like to take the company in the wellness phase of this really great organic, full spectrum products, and then start increasing the amounts of THC within it to then balance for depending on which, you know, neuro property that you're looking to sort of affect. And one of the board members in my company is the head of medicine at Vandy. And so, you know, just being able to work with people like that on this product line is exciting for me. And it's also completely new. I mean, you know, my past life. So, you know, going down a road.
If the cannabis plant teaches us anything, it teaches us that the single ingredient pharmaceutical that the pharmaceutical companies want us to take is all wrong. And that whatever it is, oh, you can't sleep at night. Oh, you got a limp dick. Oh, you can't take a shit because you're taking a pain pill. The pharmaceutical companies have got you lulled into thinking that whatever is wrong with you, there's a pill for that. Well, what we now know with the endocannabinoid system is the body's own pharmaceutical company. So all we need to do is keep our endocannabinoid system nourished with a daily intake of cannabinoids. And I totally agree with you, Chewy. Full spectrum. I think what's happening because of regulation is you have your cannabis, which is your THC, and that's licenses and retinal scanners and double security. And I'm coming through with the marijuanas. I have the marijuana, you know, all this crazy security bullshit, which is totally unnecessary. And then you have hemp, which is being grown by the hundreds of acres. I live in the stretches of what's called the Amish country in Pennsylvania, and the Amish started growing last year, and it was just so amazing just to see these beautiful, heady-looking plants with Amish folks, you know, out there farming it. So I think it's really these two worlds are going to merge, and I think the full spectrum is what's going to come together. So it's going to be THC, but it's going to be CBD and THCP and CBN and CBC, and all this alphabet soup that I'm talking about are all these molecules that make up what are called the entourage effect of cannabinoids. And that to
Right.
me is how we're all going to stay alive for years to come, because our endocannabinoid system is what's in the body to help us maintain what's called homeostasis,
Right.
which is our
So
natural healthy self, which helps
that's right.
with appetite, it helps with sleep, it helps
keeps you in
with
balance.
everything you need
It's
to
the
regulate
balance.
your body.
I would say that Also Organics is the Vinny Chase of of quality cannabinoids when it comes to entourage effect. So, but getting into what your earlier question on that, I take 100 milligrams a day. Just to tell you, quite frankly, I wake up and take a 50 milligram gel cap because it absorbs well in your upper intestine, and you get high efficacy, and it's really one of the better ways to take it, just short of intravenously. And then I take a 25 milligram midday. And then I take a gummy, and then I take a tincture before I go to bed. That's it's literally changed my world personally. I myself have I've stopped using a couple of sleep medications, and I don't take as much anti-inflammatory medication anymore. It's like made a big difference in my life. And that's what sort of got me excited of starting to learn more and more about it. And then, shifting focuses out of entertainment into starting a packaged goods company.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of both you guys, and I appreciate that you guys are both in alignment on the importance of CBD. Chewy's giving us a way to consume it. The Chemist is telling us we need it. It's important as a part of our diet and our lifestyle. I have a bunch of comments here. I want to go to the comments and pull a couple questions. Pete Wallace, the question's so big it knocked Chewy off the screen. My parents have finally come around. When he goes back to visit them, much of the local shops are cheap garbage and not trustworthy. He's been able to steer people to their quality friend CBDs. Are trash companies hurting the local perception of CBD in non-traditional cannabis states? Are there trash CBDs? Is there?
Yes, there is a great amount of, listen, I run into them every single day. Part of the reason why I wanted to build a really great company is there is a ton of snake oil salesmen and charlatans still out there. You can get really cheap, just CBD. You can import it from China tomorrow. They could have been grown on one of their super fun sites, pulling, whatever toxins out of the ground before they formulate it. You have no idea what's in this stuff. And it is everywhere. Everyone is white labeling everything. So one guy might be making 47 different brands for people in one town that could all just be absolute garbage. So the other thing to that question is, if you're going to, look, I'm sort of the whole food shopper. I want to look at the package. I want to see that it's gluten-free, vegan, made with organic ingredients, non-GMO. And then in this world, being able to go to a website and see the certificates of authenticity and recognizing where where all the science is and all those check marks as well. I think that's really, really important in this world.
Yeah, well,
Mark, is there a way, Mark, for people to distinguish when they're looking at a product, how to tell if it's
absolutely. I mean, I think you should go and look at these products and ask for things like certificates of analysis, and I think that Chewy would agree. I mean, everything is all about the quality of the material that goes into these products, and so you're not only talking about agriculture, but you're talking about extraction. And in the real world, in the non-cannabis world, this would be done in an ISO certified facility under what's called CGMP practices, which is good manufacturing practices, which is a exercise in record keeping to make sure that all the batches meet product specifications, and if there is a batch that falls out of specification, that's removed and destroyed. I mean, this is all part of what goes on in our existing food supply. We just need to apply this to the cannabis industry.
I think that's really good. There's a lot of brands out there that operate under CGMP practices, which is one certification. We also manufacture in a facility that is FDA certified and EPA certified. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of places out there and I made them get their kosher certification because like, we've got to figure this out too. Like, if you look hard,
what does that mean? Does that mean the rabbi comes in and blesses it and stuff?
You pay for the rabbi. You got to pay him, right?
Well, and not only that, but like your source materials also have to come from
Has to
places
be
that he can
kosher.
track and talk to. And as
That's
he
right.
said, he's like, so this is good for 3 years, but I may show up every 3 or 4 months just to make sure you're not hiding the bacon. But I think it's really important in the world of trust. There's so much knowledge, or there's so much misinformation out there, just in life in general, but specifically in this space. Finding a really good quality brand that you can trust, and they're out there. But we wanted to go ahead and start one that tried to check more boxes than others, and set the bar a little bit higher than what the industry certainly is offering right now. And that's kind of our long-term play is organic, non-GMO with all those different trust marks.
So Chewy, are you back integrated into your cultivation? Like, do you choose your farms and their farming?
Yeah, 100%. We originally were going to the business model was to try to own everything, like seeds to sell. And then I started meeting people. I'm like, I'm never going to grow hemp better than this guy that's been doing it organically for 15 years, ever. That's an absolute waste of my time. So we partnered with him and brought him into the company. And then, the same thing with the mad scientist who does an ultrasound hot water extraction process and then runs it through a nanoparticleizer. And, I'm like, I would take a lifetime to figure out how to do that. Like, why would I not want to partner with that guy? So, I went through and figured out what the entire supply chain was and how it all worked all the way through. And you'll notice even on that dropper top, Jeff, there's no plastic, it's wood. So we wanted to try to reduce the amount of plastic.
Can you hold that up to the camera, Jeff, so we can see that?
Hold on.
I'd love to see what that looks like. Yeah, I mean, you have to think of cradle to grave product stewardship. Everything from your packaging.
And we are.
So here's the wood top on the top of the dropper, right? And it's the same thing on the top of the salve. Oh, yeah, there it is.
So what kind of wood is that?
It's bamboo.
Bamboo. Wow.
Oh, bamboo's good.
But we just tried to minimize. Oh, and also, people are trying to get rid of it left and right here in our alleyways. So I think just also like you can make really good quality use quality ingredients to make good quality products, but also put forth a good quality package that reduces the impact on the environment as well and uses sustainable materials. I think is also really important, and that.
Well, yes, that's part of a full spectrum company now. Somebody that's environmentally friendly and not, my kids, if it has plastic on it, they will not buy it. All right, Mandy Pepperidge for Chewy. Good question, Mandy. If I use your products, would I have to worry about passing a hair drug test for THC? Because there is THC in CBD products. So what's the answer to that?
So listen, there's no exact studies around different, different brands, but on average, the studies that I have seen say that you would have to take upwards of 2,500 milligrams per day of a full spectrum tincture, a true full spectrum, meaning you're at 0.3% or less, in order to hit in that window. That being said, there's not a ton of science out there. I can tell you this, that before we launched our product, we had all 7 of our employees taking 100 milligrams a day and drug tested them every 30 days for 7 months, and no one passed it, and no one failed the drug test. So that was 7 people. We did our own internal.
Oh, you did your own little study.
Yeah.
Now for the chemistry. If you take CBD and you hit CBD with acid, it cyclizes it and it makes it into THC. So there are studies that have shown that if you take simulated stomach acid and you treat it with CBD, it turns CBD into 3 different molecules, one of them being THC. Now, that said, there's other papers in the literature that dispute that by doing the clinical work and looking at plasma of patients who are taking nothing but CBD, and they're basically not finding THC in their bloodstream. But the real question is, thermodynamics tells us that if you hit CBD with acid, it's going to cyclize. You can't keep it from happening. So why isn't it happening in the body? Well, if you're taking a tincture, it's absorbing into the mucosa, which is rich with capillaries, and it's not going into your stomach. But if you take a gummy and you don't chew it or suck on it like a cough drop, and you swallow it, and that gummy goes into your stomach. The question is not why will it convert to THC? We know the answer to that. It's thermodynamics. Why won't it convert to THC? Well, it could, again, bind to a fat binding protein and slip out of the acid of the stomach. But if there is acidity there, it could convert.
So we've used our gel caps as well to make sure that they pass through your stomach and break down in your upper intestine, partly for that reason, but also for efficacy as well. But, you know, hearing the doctor talk about not mixing acid and CBD, I think that's a bigger problem for you, Kravitz, than most people.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that kind of acid. Todd Lewis, my good friend Todd, who I've introduced Scialdone to. Liver damage also linked to residual solvents in the extraction and THC remediation process.
Yeah.
What's he saying there?
Well, I will say that we use no residual solvents in ours, but so we try to be as chemical free as possible, and that's where we are as a company, which is why we don't even use plastics in our products.
Yeah, and let me shout out to Todd.
There are a ton of companies out there that use shitty stuff in their brands.
Todd, let's have a follow-up discussion with Chewy about his extraction process. This is really neat. Todd's also in the industry. He's playing around at a facility down in Kentucky. So there's
Greg Rubin wants to know, are there warning labels? I don't see any warning labels.
No, they can't put any label language on the packaging at all because they can get a whole lot of trouble. They can't make any medical claims, or you can't really say anything.
Well, right? What we say on there is, you know, there's all the proper FDA language that is all over everything. You know, these statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And that is the standard language that should be put forth across every cannabinoid product being put out into the marketplace right now, unless it's gone through a clinical trial and has been FDA approved. At which point, and that's why I have lidocaine in our pain salve, because we can actually say pain salve, because even for a CBD product, it has an FDA approved pain remedy in it. So we're able to legally say that. Whereas, you know, we try to, if you go to our website, we have 400 different clinical trials on our website, but we want you to go make that connection. You're going to look at the body with the CB1 and CB2 receptors, and you're going to say, oh, I have one of those bodies. That's me. Look at all these clinical trials. This is what all this does. You'll connect the dots. We as a company legally in the United States cannot connect those dots for you. So, you know, we do have all the information on our packaging. We try to be as transparent as possible. But, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are trying to make medical claims, and that's frankly against the law.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you guys for incredibly interesting. I'm sure it went over everybody's head, a lot of it, and some of the people are commenting they're going to have to watch it a couple times to get it through. But you know, the information is out there, and it's a great leaping point to get out. I really enjoyed opening my first opening today, Chewy. So thank you for stimulating me into that. Also, Organics is the name of Chewy's company, and it's you know, a pleasure to see you. Take care, and we're going to put something together, and I'll tell everybody in the audience probably tomorrow how they can come in and get themselves some of these delicious, tasty CBDs out there and get their gummies. Their 25
Jeff, are you going to have a THC episode?
Yes, I'm actually working on talking to our friend AJ from AJ, the Sour Diesel King.
Yeah.
And I'm also trying to get a hold of G to do a Chem Dog Sour D Day. Nice. And tomorrow on the show.
Be a part of that.
Chewy, I'm gonna say goodbye to you, Chewy. I'll talk to Mark for a little bit. Thanks for tuning in, Chewy.
Thanks for having me. Nice meeting you, Mark. Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Chewy. It was great. Also Organics, folks.
Hey, so hook me up with him.
Yes, I will. I'll connect you guys. That's what I'm here for, to get everybody on the same page. But Dr. Mark Scialdone works for, somebody asked me about you, and I just wanted you to know that you're with BR Brands Official. And, you know, you're an incredibly interesting guy. You're a huge deadhead. You play massive Jerry Garcia guitar, just like me. We have the same kind of passion, sitting around, chasing Jerry around our room with our guitars late at night. And I love you, man. I'm so happy and proud of you in the different ways you've cut through on this industry.
Thank you. I'm your biggest fan. You know, I have to just point out, Jeff, when we stayed together at Super Bowl at that crazy bed and breakfast. Remember that
Yeah,
crazy
with
bed and
Ken.
breakfast?
Ken!
Well, we were sitting down on the porch one day, and you told me about the future of entertainment, and you had me and Kara's ear for probably about 2 hours, and you said we would all be funneled into this place like the Madison Square Garden where all the seats were the same and there was no front row. Everybody had the same seat, and we were going to be in these seats, and we were going to be all hooked up so all our bodily functions would be taken care of. Do you remember this? This was the
Yes.
future of entertainment, right?
Yeah. The future of entertainment for me was the future of entertainment for me was that when you went to the show, they knew your seat and you sent them a little note to say, look, every day I drink 20 ounces of screwdrivers. So there was a tube down here that gave you your drink, and then there was another tube that attached to your ween. Because, you know, the whole thing about going to shows is you go to the bathroom, you got to pee. So if you could pee at your seat, it would be so much easier. You wouldn't have to move. I mean, I thought about diapers and all that stuff, but I ultimately like the suction effect. But you know what, Mark, to be totally honest with you, Jim Dolan, who owns the Knicks in Madison Square Garden, has sold the Forum and is building the future of entertainment behind the Venetian Hotel. It is a dome. And his theory is that every seat in the house is like sitting in the front row, and every seat's going to have its own little sound system. So when you go there, you're going to be fully immersed, and it's a 20,000 seat venue. And he's building it right now in Las Vegas. If you look at Google Earth, you can look and see the job he's doing on it. So Jim Dolan had the same idea in mind. So I think you might have talked to him. Did you talk to him?
No, that's the future of entertainment, right? I just remember having that conversation with you, and that's why I kept on typing it. You know, I haven't missed an episode. It's been great.
It's great. It's great seeing you in. I'm glad I could figure out a way to work you into my show. You're incredibly informed on the subject. If anybody has any questions or wants to get in touch with Mark or has any kind of major health issues, he's a fountain of information. He knows how everything works and how our body works. And thanks, Scialdone. I'm going to tap your brands again. It's BR Brands. Where's the banner? The banner's right here. BR Brands Official. You can follow them on the Instagram and check them out. And I look forward to seeing you face to face. I need a big hug, and I need to stand next to you and have you pass me a doob in the middle of a show and, you know, dance. It's driving me crazy.
We had a chance to do it at Madison Square Garden this year, didn't we?
We had a great show.
In fact, I was dancing so crazy, you had to tell me to chill out.
Yeah, I was like, Scialdone, what the fuck? You got to take my eye out. Watch those hands. All right, Mark, take care. Have a great day. Say hi to your family.
Love you, buddy.
Take care. There you go. We kicked off 420 week today with some serious science. You know, I love the flow of yesterday. We had the rock band on Humphreys McGee, and we were just throwing it around. And today we were getting into some stuff that I'm sure went over. Well, a lot of it went over my head. I know that. So, but you know, it's important to me that you understand the people that we have in our circle that we could talk to when we have to ask questions, when we want to know stuff. Chewy came to me with his product line, and he's like, hey, I want to send you this. And I didn't know what was going to come of it. And then I had the idea we're going to do a 420 week. And it's, you know, the whole show, this whole thing's been absolutely incredible. So my guests today on the show, probably not Chewy because she's not going to need one, but I know Mark Scialdone will like this, is going to get the Solo Pipe from Solo Pipe Venice. Let me flash up their banner here so you can check it out. Because they're gonna give each of my guests this week a Solo Pipe. The guys, oh wait, wrong one. Solo Pipe Venice. There it is. Solo Pipe Venice. Stash. One-handed use. Oh, what's that? See? Drink in one hand. There's nothing in here, so I'm not going to hit it because I'm just going to guess it. But Solo Pipe Venice, it's a great product, and we're going to give out. And I'll pick somebody random too that commented today to give one out to. On a more structured format, our friends at Heady Old School Glass, Brian Raskin, I gotta get this, is giving away something like this beautiful tube. And you know what? I actually have a picture of it. He blew the tube for us and sent me a picture of it. And I'm going to invite it on to the show. And there's let me get rid of the flat. There's the piece that Brian blue for you guys. And we're going to post something up today on my Instagram, and you're going to comment. You're going to tag me, and you're going to tag Brian, and you're going to tag 2 friends that you would share that with once you're allowed to pass something, of course. Because right now there's no passing anything. And you're going to win that beautiful piece from my friends at Heady Old School Glass. So it's been phenomenal. Now, 2 other things. One is that if you saw Armando Gallo come on last week, his book, Genesis, I Know What I Like, is he's going to sell the rest of his copies. So if you love Genesis and you want to copy this book, if you're a Genesis fan, this needs to be in your collection. I'm not even going to ask him for one to give it away because I think you guys should all buy one because he put a lot of work into this. It's his life work, and he's a really important guy for all of us. So support Armando, buy his book. I want to talk about our show for the rest of the week. We have some great guests coming on. I have the authors of Pot Culture, marijuana, cannabis legend, Steve Bloom. Steve Bloom worked at High Times at the peak when we used to open up the centerfold of High Times like it was Playboy magazine and look at this stuff we could never get. It's hash and bud or whatever it was. And Shirley Halpern, who's now with Variety, and they are going to come on the show tomorrow, and we're going to talk pot culture. And inside pot culture is an A to Z to stoner language and life. They list all the movies, show you how to make different kinds of bongs, pipes out of carrots and gravity bongs. And when this book came out and I got a hold of it, I was like, I better not let the kids get a hold of this because it's everything I learned in 40 years of being a stoner in one book. And I was like, this will just be like a giant cheat code. And sure enough, my son was like 16 years old and he had this in his room reading the pot culture. Let's tune in tomorrow for pot culture. Everybody out there, thank you. Thank you for a month. The last month has been absolutely incredible. I'm honored to be able to come to you every day, for you guys to let me in, to be able to talk about whatever it is and to introduce you to whoever I have. And, the rest of the week, we're going to have a Women in Cannabis. I'm reaching out to some of my friends or some of your cannabis celebrities. I'm going for it. I'm not pulling any punches. I'm here for you every day, 4:10 Pacific time. Please come in, join me. Let's get high. 420. I think tomorrow we're going to start an after show rap Zoom party so we can all have a hit together for every day after the show this week, because I kind of all miss you guys. And the hardest part for me is the fact that I'm not going anywhere. There's nothing social going on. So you're my social life. You're my distraction. I'm your distraction. I'm here for you. Here is your hug. Oh, big Monday hug for all my loved ones out there. Have a great day. We will see you tomorrow. I'm going to figure out how to click this and not look at it and eventually be able to say, have a great day. Jeff Kravitz signing off, 420 Live. See you tomorrow.